before I get started, bear with me. Forgot to do this real quick. Bear with me. All right, Shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to you, hopefully elect. All right, and pursuant to the title, all right, blessed beyond measure. And through the Spirit, I was inspired. I don't remember exactly which video it was by the Apostle Tahar. He did a few days ago. But he mentioned when it came to King Solomon, because I'm gonna go ahead and start off with this. Because as we know about King Solomon, and just for the most part, Jake in general during that time, Jake was decked out, to the point where, hey, when Queen Sheba, when she came through and she saw the fact that, hey, King Solomon, he was on a different level, to the point where he thought one of his men was the king himself, right? But even with all that being said, because as we know, or as we should know, or for those that don't know, King David, during his reign, well, King David and King Solomon, both their in their kingships, when they were ruling, they were symbolic or represented symbolic for the kingdom of heaven that's going to be established here on earth, Lord willing, sooner than soon. Because King David, his kingdom, his kingship, during his reign, he had the nations in subjection. All right. And King Solomon, during his kingship, he was at peace. He didn't see war. And both of those is symbolic for what we're going to have established. When it's our time to rule, man. When it's our time to rule. All right. And Salaki, because I was watching some of the I had to cut it short, posted I was gonna do this video, so I had to cut it short, but I was watching bits and pieces because I'm busy on the run and whatnot. I was watching the elders out there in Dallas, the elder Yeshua and them. They're doing a live right now as we speak. I was catching bits and pieces of it, and it's more fuel to the fire to do the video. Is more to do this video, but I had to cut it short. Bullshit, lucky, man. It's a thing, I was about to say with Esau, and I gotta Salaki, bear with me, man. This shit is a mess, but the show must go on, nevertheless, through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Lord, when we get through this. All right, to wrap this up, wrap my evening up, but it's on my spirit. So we're here. Lord, we can get through this. Because I was gonna say, as a feet is messing up, because that's the thing with again, going back to what I was mentioning, I was watching the elders out there in Dallas, watching those beautiful brothers, you know. And one of the things that they were mentioning was, like I said, it was more fuel to the fire to do this. Just when I was about to do this live, I saw they went live, and you know, it's all spiritual, you know. But one of the things that they were mentioning was the fact that you know, the earth, man, it's because the earth was made, it was the Lord created it for us to enjoy. You know, we're supposed to reap the benefits of the earth. You know, at one point we had paradise. Of course, we blew it. The Lord is teaching us a valuable lesson. All right. You know, but Esau, man, you know, he takes the natural resources of the earth, and we see the results of it. All right. We see the state of the condition being under Esau's management. All right. Being under his rulership, man. You know, man, we got to get out of here, man. Because it's not only until it's not until the Israelites get set back in power, that's when the earth is going to be able to yield her. She's going to get her youth back. She's going to be able to yield her fruit again, and you know, we're going to be able to enjoy the fruits of the earth again, once more. And as a matter of fact, to bring it back full circle, all right, because going back to King Solomon, we had a glimpse of that, right? Matthew 6:29. And yet that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. So you see, because again, going back to the King Solomon, I was saying, King David and King Solomon, both those rulerships were symbolic. They were small glimpses. They were preludes to what we're going to have in the nations being under subjection. They're going to bring it back full circle, being blessed, mentioned a long time ago. And, you know, because, you know, you have Jake always talking about, I'm blessed, you know, I'm blessed, right? Blessed, you know, Jake, they don't really understand what being blessed is, the true meaning of being blessed, what it is to be blessed, right? Because going to this real quick. Going to this, what is that? Oh man, where's that at? Second Chronicles chapter 2, verse 1. And Solomon determined to build a house for the name of the Lord, and a house for his kingdom. And that's another thing. That's another thing, you know, because as a matter of fact, and again, going back to the title, man, being blessed by measure, because I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna go back to Chronicles, but I'm gonna get this in 1 Kings chapter 7, verse 1. But Solomon was in his own house for 2 years. You go through it, you know, King Solomon, he built a house for the Lord, you know, the temple, and he spent time building the temple of the Lord, and he spent time building his own house. Right now, if I'm not mistaken, when it came to the temple, all right, again, just because, you know, it had to be decked out. You know, it had to be decked out, because the temple, the again, when you go into it, the temple, the things pertaining to the temple was very specific, very detailed. You know, and that's the other thing I picked up from the elders in the beautiful Akim out there in Dallas, as I was, you know, watching them. All right, just from the scents and the different smells, and you know, the best way I could put it, man, it just had to be, you know, words can't describe, because we're used to this. We're used to this, you know, everything that we see in this current condition that we're in right now. This is what we're used to, you know. And the elder Yashuamba, from time to time, every so often, he mentions how just the scent that the earth used to give off. I remember the time, you know, and I posted this on the comment, you know, on the comment board during the live, you know, because he made a statement about how You know, the 80s, you know, that was pretty much the last generation where, you know, Jake going outside, and that was a time where, you know, we were able to drink out of water hoses and things of that nature. You know, and I posted this on a on the comment board, how early 90s, I'll say that. All right, because you know I was born in the 90s, early 90s, you know, and I remember growing up in the 90s where, this is something I always used to just meditate on, even before the truth, you know. Like, yeah, that was a time where those were the so-called days, you know. That was a golden era, like like the elder was saying, and about just being able to go outside, play with your friends, you know. Having to go outside. Listen, when your parents told you, hey, you go outside, but you come back in before the streetlights came on, you know. That was those were the days where, hey, your neighbor, you know, it was a tight knit, you know. I remember those days, man, and those were beautiful times, you know. And like I said, the early 90s, mid 90s, I'll say that was humbly speaking, you know, those were the last, that was the last era, all right. That was the last era where after that it was just, we see today these are nothing but monsters, and you know, but I remember those days, man. You were able to drink out of water hoses, and you know, the good old days, so called, right? You know, but hey, man, even better days are coming, you know, as I read in Matthew, right? You know, before I go back to that, I'm gonna read this again in 1 Kings 7:1 again. But Solomon was building his own house 13 years, and he finished all his house. Because again, you gotta just imagine, you gotta think, man. You know, like I was saying, if I'm not mistaken, when it came to the temple, it took roughly 7 years to build the temple. But listen, King Solomon, he was building his own palace, right? And like I said, he completed it in 13 years. You gotta, man, we can only imagine how decked out it was, man. How decked out his palace was, you know? And he had the finest of the finest, you know, the best of the best, the best of the best. And it took 13 years, man, to build his palace. What do you think we're gonna get, right? And like I said, because when you read on, it just goes into, like I read verse 2, it says, he built also the house of the forest. He built also the house of the forest of Lebanon. The length thereof was 100 cubits, and the breadth thereof 50 cubits, and the height thereof 30 cubits, upon 4 rows of cedar pillars with cedar beams upon the pillars. So again, it's detailed, it's specific. The pattern, everything is detailed down to the T. All right, but yet alone, because like I said in the beginning of verse 2, it said he built also the house of the forest of Lebanon. You see, that was the best of the best. You know, King Solomon, he had the best of the best. The best of the best, man, right? Going back to, because again, with all that being said, going back to Matthew 6:29 again, and yet I say to you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Because again, it's King Solomon during his time, it was just a prelude to what Lord willing, what we're going to get in the time to come, in the near future, Lord willing, sooner than soon. Because this shit's got to be put to an end. This shit has got to come to an end, man. You know, I know brothers more and more getting that feeling of just wanting to tap out and just, you know, and just the fact that that's the spirit, because just the fact that because it's getting to a point where, you know, brothers are just sighing and just groaning in their spirit. It's almost like it's becoming more and more involuntary. And I got to mention this in a lesson that I did the other day, earlier this week, going into I forgot what I titled it, but basically did a video going into how, you know, crying out to the Lord, man. But sometimes it just gets to a point where, listen, there's not enough words in it, this bastard's language, this English language, to express how we feel. And that's why you catch yourself just huffing and puffing and just sighing and just because this shit is played out, man, and this shit has got to come to an end, but I'm gonna get this because, like I said, I forgot to mention it in that video earlier this week. But this Romans chapter 8, and quite frankly, the whole earth is feeling like this. All right. Because again, the whole earth is tired, the whole world and everything in it. The earth itself and everything in it. Literally, the earth itself and everything in it. From the grass to the ants to the germs, bacteria, to the nations. But it hits different with the elect because I forgot who mentioned this, Salakia, because I want to give credit where it's due, but it might have been the elder from Kazakh from Mississippi, the elder Kazaki Allah. It might have been him, but nevertheless, a statement was made a while ago, some time ago, about how when it comes to the elect, it's personal with the elect. All right, because with the elect, those were those spirits that were with Yahushua in the beginning, and they created creation. All right, the order of creation, which, going back to what the brothers from Dallas was talking about, they mentioned that as well. I caught that as well. The order of creation. All right, it was Yahushua and those elect spirits, those 144,000 men. All right. And again, it's personal with the elect, because it's like when you're at the beach and you build a magnificent sandcastle. It takes you hours to build a sandcastle, and in a moment, some niggard, all right, some nigga destroys everything that you built. You put your blood, what they say, your blood, sweat, and tears into this, and they just destroy it. Everything that you put your hard work into this, and this nigga, in a moment, he just destroys it. You're gonna feel some type of way. All right, you're gonna feel some type of way. So, like I was saying, when it comes to the elect, it's personal because they took part in his creation. But the fact that, again, one without a number, we see how, like I said, going back to the brothers out there in Dallas, and again, the apostle Slaki, the elder Yashuamba, he, from time to time, and he made him tonight in their live camp, and he says this from time to time, because I remember this, that's the thing. I remember this. The earth used to give off a certain scent. There used to be a certain smell. Bear with me, man. I'm trying to move to another spot, because this technology that Esau, he takes pride in so much. Esau takes so much pride in this technology, and you see, that's why we got to get out of here, man, because this car is making all type of noises, man. It's like, god damn, bruh. Check engine light and all this, man. But this is what Esau takes pride in. This is what this devil takes pride in. You know, and the Lord gave this nigga the basis, you know, basically the trash of his technology. And you see, that's the thing, because the fact that, again, Esau and Salakia, because this joint is making noises, man. It's a bit distracting. If I can hear it, Salakia. Just bear with me, man. And you know, it's beautiful because today's Friday, you know, it's Friday night. And typically, I know with me personally, man, just with me personally, you know, because it's one day before camp, you know. There's one day before camp, you know, and it's always some shit, man. You know, getting tried throughout the week. And then Thursday, Friday, it'd be like, you know, you about to really lose, you know, you about to lose it, man. You about to really just say, fuck it. But it usually be like that from Sunday to Sunday, all right? You know, the minute we depart from fellowshipping, you know, it's like the problems start, you know. So it's usually like that from Sunday to Sunday. It's just like, man, it's one thing after another. But let me not veer off the point, because like I was saying, Esau, he takes all the resources from the earth, and because this is where you get the cars, this is where you get the iPhones and the laptops and all this stuff. He takes the resources from the earth, you know. But even with that being said, because like I was saying, with where Esau's at now with his technology, these elites, and Shalom, Yahweh Shem Moshe Brakatham, Brakatah and Brakatham to you on the comment board, and to those that see this after. This with the technology of these Job 924s, man, what he takes pride in, you know, the Lord gave him the trash. He gave him the basis. And again, this is Esau. A lot of this technology, high technology, is from Esau taking the resources out of the earth. So imagine the technology that we're going to possess when we get set back in power, man. It's far-fetched. It's far-fetched. What we got waiting on us, man, it's far-fetched. You know, because pretty much what Esau's got now, man, it's old technology. You know, it might seem ooh and ah to a lot of people, but this is really old technology, man. This is old. You know, you read about you look into the Urim and the Thummim, and you know, this is old stuff. This is old technology. But just imagine, because that's the thing, to bring it all back full circle. All right, being blessed beyond measure. You know, because let me go ahead and before I ramble on, I was going to get this though in Romans chapter 8, because like I was saying, you know, speaking this bastard's language, all right, you know, you catch yourself just and just sighing and just, you know, groaning in the spirit, because there's not enough words to express, you know. But listen, the spirit knows, and the spirit goes to Yahushua, and Yahushua, he goes to the Heavenly Father, you know, on our behalf, right? But Romans chapter 8 and verse 22, for we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. So you see, again, we're groaning in our spirit. You know, we brothers are sighing and crying, and you know, you can't put into words, but the spirit knows. Yahushua knows, because this shit is played out, man. The Lord's got to put an end to this. All right, the Lord's got to put an end to this, because as I say from time to time, listen, if we You see, I just did it again. Yahweh Ratazah, man. If because we know, you know, every 3 to 4 generations we come back. Man, listen, if this is not the last generation and we had to come back 3 to 4 generations from now, that's a scary feeling. That's a scary thought. You know, that's a scary thought. Coming back through these 2/3 niggas, man. Because listen, in the kingdom, the 2/3, they're gonna come back through the loins of the elect. But let's say if the roles were reversed and the elect had to come back through the loins of the 2/3, man, we're done. These niggas eat hot Cheetos and drink Mountain Dew for breakfast, man. Like, bruh. And drinking lean, and man, if we had to come back through these niggas, we're done. So this has to be the last generation. Lord's will. This has to be the last time, man. This has to be the last go round. The Lord has to do something, man. He has to do something. Because if not, we're all done. We are all done. You know, but going back into it, man. Because listen, and to go back to the elder Kazaki Allah, another statement he made a long time ago. And at first, you know, I was like, why? Because he made a statement like, in the kingdom, man, listen, some brothers, man, and not so many words, you know, he didn't say it like this, but I can understand why he said it. Because just, you know, as we grow, as we mature in this thing, we get it. All right. But at the time, I didn't really I couldn't get how brothers could feel this way. Because again, the elder Kazaki Allah, you know, he made a statement a long time ago, a couple of years ago, about how, hey, some brothers, man, they're just, because, you know, we've been beat down so much to a point where he said it, you know, in the kingdom, you might not see brothers, some brothers just, you might not see them in the kingdom other than when high holidays come around. That might be the only time you might see some brothers, you know, because it's going to be one of those things. It's just like, man, you know, where it's just, again, we're so worn out, we're so beat down, man, you know. And like I said, when he was explaining it, I was like, you know, because listen, in the kingdom, it's going to be good, you know. We're going to be, matter of fact, let me get one of my favorites. Since I'm in Kings, or since I was in Kings, this is one of my favorites. 1 Kings chapter 4, verse 20. 1 Kings 4 and 20. Because again, King Solomon, you know, during his reign, that was symbolic for our king, what we're going to have, man. Peace. Right? 1 Kings 4 and 20. Judah and Israel. So all the 12 tribes. All right. It says, Judah and Israel were many, as the sand which is by the sea in multitude, eating and drinking and making merry. So you see, it was all good. You know, it was all good during King Solomon's time. And listen, in the kingdom is going to be all good. It's going to be you know, so going back to the point that the elder Kazaki Allah was making, he said it a couple of years ago, and I didn't see it then, but as I grow in this thing, I can understand, you know, like being in the kingdom, like, hey, where's such and such? Oh, he's in such and such. And, you know, and it's going to be one of those things where it's just like, okay, we get it. All right. Because some brothers might not want to be, you know, in the kingdom. I could just imagine like brothers just, you know, they just want to be over there, you know, because listen, this kingdom, listen, this shit took a toll on us, man. You know, hey, it took a toll on us, man. Jake is worn out. Jake is tired, and I can understand why some Jake would have that feeling in the kingdom where they just want to be over there somewhere. Just, hey, listen, I'll see y'all at Passover, certain high holidays, Shalom, and I'm out. I can understand now. In the beginning, when the elder made that statement, I didn't really understand it, but I can see that now. Because now and it's easier said than done now. It's easier said than done because, we're in the flesh, but now in my weak way of thinking, my puny mindset, I can see like I might be one of those jakes where I'm going to be over there somewhere. Because as I say from time to time, like I said, Jake has been beat down so much, and that's, it's all beautiful because, listen, when paradise gets reestablished on earth, because again, we had it at one point. We had it all. We had it, but we blew it. And that's why going through this it's a necessary evil, because when we get it back, listen, we're going to appreciate it. We're going to appreciate it that much more. We're going to appreciate it. All right. We're going to appreciate it, man. Because we didn't appreciate it then. When we had it, we didn't appreciate it. Like the brother Nahoya always says, hey, listen, ever since Egypt, man, we've been getting our asses kicked. All right. We've been getting our asses whooped, captivity after captivity. Well, listen, when we get it back, we're going to appreciate it, man. And like I said, man, we've been beat down so much. And I say this from time to time, like, I'm speaking for myself. In the kingdom, all I want, me personally, man, I just want to see Yahushua on the throne. I want to be a part of those councils. All right, Lord willing. And other than that, you just give me a little plot of land, give me some real wine, because brothers know I like my liquor, man. I like my wine. I like to drink. I'm a wine bibber. All right, like my big brother Yahushua. All right, I'm a wine bibber. So just give me some wine. All right, give me a plot of land, give me a few wives, and I'm good. I'm good. And not in that order. All right. I want to see Yahushua get his. Like I said, I want to be a part of. I want to partake in those councils, Lord willing. All right. And just give me some real wine. Give me a few wives, a few concubines, and give me some land. I'm good. But that's the thing. It's going to be so much more than that. It's going to be so much more than that. Again, to bring it all back full circle, blessed beyond measure, because like I was saying in the beginning, Jake walking around here, and that's a cut, at least to me, and I'm sure to other brothers as well, because like the scriptures talk about, being Slakia, the thought just slipped my mind, but well, yeah, it just brought it back. That's why we need those new bodies, man. We need a total upgrade, all right? Because these bodies, man, this flesh is a joke, all right? But the scriptures do talk about, listen, roughly paraphrasing, man. As far as this oppression, listen, we're supposed to be bitter. We're supposed to be not happy, all right? It's not to say that we're supposed to be depressed, walking around here moping, but just the wiser we become, the more bitter we become, because we know how it's supposed to be. Living in this current setup that we're in right now versus how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to make you feel, it's supposed to make us feel some type of way. We're supposed to be bitter. We're supposed to be pissed off about this shit because this is not how it's supposed to be. But even with that being said, because listen, you can't let you have Jake walking around here. I'm talking about a 2/3 nigga at that. All right, a dread-headed, tatted up, perk drinking, lean smoking. I said that backwards, but whatever. All right, you get the point. Walking around here with confidence and just in a good mood. And it's like, damn, the Lord is cold. The Lord will have it to where you might be in that depressive mood and just in that down and out spirit. Woe is me, But the spirit of habit to where a 2/3 nigga will give you some words of encouragement. What kind of shit is that? No, man. You know, a 2/3 or a 2/3 be walking around here talking about, oh man, don't worry about it. Better days are coming, and stuff like, man, that's supposed to be our attitude. You know, that's why I say it's a cut, because Jake, man. But what was I going to get? All right, because again, to go back to the point of being blessed beyond measure. Listen, like I was saying, me personally, you give me some wine, because we're gonna be drinking real wine in the kingdom. Believe that. All right. I just want to see Yahushua on the throne. Lord, want to be a part of those councils. Give me some wine, a few wives, and a few concubines, and some land. I'm good. I'm straight. I'll be good. But that's so low level. Listen, what we've got waiting on us is so far-fetched. It's so far-fetched, right? As I read it earlier, matter of fact, let me go back to it in Matthew 6, in verse 29 again. And yet I say unto you, that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. So as much as King Solomon, listen, King Solomon, he didn't have a worry, all right? You talk about being stress-free. Man, I'm going to get this real quick, and then I'm going to get my closing precepts. Because where is that at? In Isaiah 14, it talks about how he's going to be, roughly paraphrasing, taken down from his heaven. Because, Esau, he's in his powers right now. He's in his rulership, This is the time for him to live it up, right? But he's going to be brought down to hell, slavery, captivity, versus us. Lord won't wear that number. We're in our hell, but listen, hey, we're going to be exalted, man, right? Psalm chapter 73, verse 5, it says, they are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. And, because at one point, you could have really, and I've used this before, as far as just that the average Edomite walking around, but that's not the case anymore, because hey, Deuteronomy 37, the curses, Esau, he's starting to feel what we feel. He's starting to feel like what it means to be a nigga, all right? And he don't like that shit, but that's his natural estate, all right? Because he is, and I've did a video on this before, he is the original nigga, all right? He's the real black man, all right? We're the real white men, essentially, But Esau, hey, like the brother Azaria always says, welcome home, you bastard, you bitch, you, all right? Welcome home. This is his natural estate, you see? But they're not in trouble as other men. And like I said, at one point, we could have applied this to the average common Edomite, but they're feeling the curses too. Now this really applies to the top wicked elites. Because do you think they have a care in the world? Do you think they should worry about paying bills? And no, man. Do you think that these the top, these Job 924s, all right, the top wicked elites, do you think that they wear the same clothes every day? No, man. They eat real food. Do you think they breathe breathe the air that we breathe, the chemtrail? No, man. They don't live like us, man. They live like again, they're in their heaven, they're in their power structure, these Job 924s, they're living it up, they're good. Like I said, do you think they walking around here stressing about bills? Do you even think they pay bills? No, man. And that's supposed to be us. That's supposed to be us, man. But it's coming, it is coming. Let me go ahead and get this, man. Let me go ahead and get this. And again, because as I read in that 2 Kings, what was that, 7:1, the 7th chapter, because again, you got to imagine King Solomon, all right, he built a temple for the Lord It took him roughly 10 Slocky. It took him roughly 7 years, but he built his own palace, which took him what was that roughly oh man, bear with me. Bear with me. Because King Solomon, he built the temple. It took him roughly 7 years to build the temple. But as far as his own palace, all right, I think it took him roughly 13 years. If I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. And you got to ask yourself, man, how decked out was King Solomon? How decked out his palace was? You know, any home that takes you roughly 13 years to build, man. Bear with me. Yeah. I read that in 1 Kings 7. Yeah, that's the spirit. I read it again. 1 Kings 7:1. But Solomon was building his own house 13 years, and he finished all his house. So again, and like I was say, I mentioned earlier, you know, it's coming back to my memory. I read it earlier because when you go on to read, it goes into the specifics. All right, and best believe King Solomon, he had the best of the best. Lebanon, listen, Lebanon, that's not no, you know, that he had the best of the best, you know. But that's not even the point of this, because this is another thing that I say from time to time, you know, because hey, being blessed beyond measure. What is the definition of being blessed? Jake is always talking about, oh, I'm blessed, you know, which that's the point that I was making earlier. You know, Jake is walking around here thinking that they're in a good case, you know, just thinking that they're good, thinking that they're blessed. But what is the definition of being blessed? You know, and like I said, it's a cut, at least to me, you know, because Jake is walking around here just in a, you know, a positive attitude, you know, because like I said, it's easy to get that down and out depressive spirit, but you got, if you got a 2/3 nigga, you know, giving you advice on, hey man, you know, brother, better days are coming, my brother, and listen, you know, and again, you know, you gotta, oh man, it's cold, you know, because, you know, we're content with what we got, but like I was saying earlier, you know, this shit, it makes you bitter, you know, it makes you bitter. It just, but that's not listen. And I saw a video Apostle Ricard did the other day about how, hey, we can't, being depressed and all that shit, man, there's no time for that. All right, there's no time for that, man. Now, again, it's easier said than done. We're in the flesh, and you know, we're gonna feel what we feel, but there's no time to be in that, just laying up in the bed under the covers, you know, with your thumb in your mouth. There's no time for that, man. There's no time for that. All right. But the definition of being blessed, all right, because again, Jig is always talking about I'm blessed, right? Second Chronicles 2, starting at 1. And Solomon determined to build a house for the name of the Lord and a house for his kingdom. So, you know, that ties into what I was mentioning earlier, because like I said, King Solomon, he built the temple for the Lord. It took him roughly 7 years, but he built his own palace, which took him roughly 13 years. You know, and listen, that's the thing with the kingdom, man, the kingdom to come. All right, it's never going to be a stopping moment. It's just going to continue to grow, expand. All right. And again, you got to imagine if King Solomon had a palace that took him 13 years to build, how decked out was that, man? And that was, if that was something that was accomplished on earth in the flesh, how much more than kingdom, man? Listen, we're going to be decked out. You know, we're going to be decked out, man. Damn. Can't even, streets paved with gold. Listen, brothers are going to have palaces that are made out of all type of stones and precious elements. You know, that give off certain vibrations and frequencies. Man, it's gonna be far-fetched. What we got weight on this? It's far-fetched. It's far-fetched. I picture brothers having, I'm talking about every brother, man, having at least one palace made specifically out of one stone. Out of all the stones that there are, brothers are gonna have one palace. All right, when I say palace, listen, that's an understatement, because brothers are gonna have, oh man, listen, you know, brothers are gonna have their own galaxies and planets, and man, St. John 14, one of my favorites, one of my favorite chapters, to meditate on, to talk about. All right, because it's going to be a never-ending process. It's just, we're constantly going to be growing. We're constantly going to be growing, and it's hard to fathom. But hey, we'll see when we get there. But I believe brothers are going to have. Listen, brothers are going to have at least one palace. Made strictly of gold, made strictly of diamonds, made strictly of sapphire, and that's just the stones by itself. Some brothers, outside of that, brothers are gonna have stone palaces that are made out of different stones and element. Man, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy, man. But verse 2, in 2 Chronicles 2:2, it says, and Solomon told. Now this is the definition of being blessed. 2 Chronicles 2:2, and Solomon told out 70,010 men to bear burdens, and 80,000 to hew in the mountain, and 3,600 to oversee them. All right. Now, as far as the numbers, the math itself, you do that on your own. Do the research on your own. All right. But listen, King Solomon, he had servants. That's the point. He had men. This is the definition of being blessed. And this is something that I think about all the time. Like, because I say this from time to time about how I like to burn my incense and my sage, my Santo Palo, and things of that nature. And I'll be just doing it. I mean, why am I doing this? I should have service for this, man. And another thing, going back to the elders out there in Dallas, the brothers out there in Dallas, they made another point, because like the scriptures talk about how Moab being a wash pot. You see, that was an ancient custom. All right, an ancient custom. You had one servant bring the pot of water, right? And you had another servant, to come to wash your feet or whatever the case may be. And you see, that's when it comes to these heathens, that's why they're so good at their job. When you see these Moabites, these so-called Chinese, you see them in their natural state doing their little manicures and pedicures. And all the other nations, they're at best when they're in their natural state. Well, let's going back to that, because like I said, I shouldn't have to be burning my sage. Listen, I'm gonna have servants from the morning to the midday to the evening. It's gonna be like clockwork. All right, I ain't gonna have to say shit. My service, they're gonna know. All right, the certain smells that I like at a certain time, and burn this at a certain time. Make sure you light this up at a certain. Hey, my service is gonna be on point, and I'm sure I can speak for all brothers. It's gonna be on point. All right, do telepathy, however it plays out. All I know is I ain't gonna have to say shit. My service is gonna be on point. All right, but this is the real definition of being blessed. All right, having these servants. You see. Man, I'm gonna get another one in 1 Kings. 1 Kings chapter 10, because as I read in that Psalm 73, all right, they are not in trouble as other men, because like I said, these Job and 924s, these top wicked elites, these Rothschilds, Rockefeller, do you think that they worry about paying bills? Do you think they even pay bills? Do you think they stressing about what we stress about? Hell no. Right? 1 Kings 10:21. It said, and all King Solomon's drinking vessels were of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of pure gold. So like I said earlier, like I just said, listen, I believe brothers are gonna have palaces You know, some just off of pure gold, some off of just pure diamonds, some off of just pure onyx. You know, and those are just single elements. That's not even to mention, like I said, some brothers are gonna have palaces, mix, you know, stones or whatever. That's why brothers, we say this from time to time at the camp. You know, hey, these heathens, they're gonna be making they're gonna be turning big rocks into little rocks, all right? And they're gonna be turning little rocks into smaller rocks. You know, it's gonna be a never-ending cycle, man. Our kingdom is just gonna be expanding, you know. Again, 1 Kings 10 and 21. And all King Solomon's drinking vessels were of pure gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of pure gold. None were of silver. You see? And again, King Solomon, he accomplished this in the flesh on earth. How much more? That's why I read that Matthew. Like, how much more in the kingdom? Listen, that's not even the point. Reading on, it says, it was nothing accounted of in the days of Solomon. What's that like? I don't know. We don't know. Shit. Hell, Jake, they go to the grocery stores, swipe their card, and pray for a miracle. Pray that shit goes through. You think? And it reminds me because, you know, there's an old video with this guy Michael Jackson. You know, where he was just, I don't know if he was in a museum or whatever. You know, Lord willing, I found that video. I posted in probably posted it on my backup channels, Lord willing. But this is old video of Michael Jackson. He was just somewhere, and he was just, I want that, I want that. Let me get that. You know, like I said, Jake, now they swipe the card and hoping that shit goes through, praying that shit goes through. Hell, Jake, man, they take some money at the ATM and they don't even want to know how much they got in their bank account. You know, you think King Solomon was worried about that? Like I said, it said nothing accounted of in the days of Solomon. You think King Solomon was worried about any of that? Again, do you think these Job 1924s, do you think they're worried about anything? That's why, again, I read that and they're not in trouble as other men. They don't worry about, man, let me get that. I want that. You know, hell, you even have some of these celebrities, so-called celebrities. Listen, certain of these celebrities, they don't wear the same outfits twice. You know, so some of these celebrities, they wear some of their outfits one time, and that's it. They might wear a pair of shoes one time. This is like, you know, how much more these elites. You know, you think they're walking around eating GMO foods, man? Hell no, man. You know, they don't worry about none of that stuff, man. You know. So I'm gonna go back to this, man. I believe I've spoken enough. I can go on all day about this, but I believe the Lord willing, the point was made. Back in Matthew 6 and 29, it says, and yet I say unto you, that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. So if King Solomon accomplished this on earth, all right, in the flesh, carnally speaking, how much more when a kingdom is established on earth? You know, listen, and I'm gonna roughly paraphrase because you had a lot of you had those Jakes, all right, and I might have to do a separate video on this. When that temple was built, you know, it was beautiful. All right, it was beautiful. Matter of fact, it's on my spirit. I'm gonna look it up real quick because you had some of those Jakes that were around during that time. I'm gonna just have to look it up. Bear with me. Because after the temple was if I'm not mistaken, when that temple was sacked and they rebuilt the temple, listen, a lot of those Jakes that were around during that time when King Solomon and see not glory, when the temple was built again, listen, it wasn't the same. A lot of those older Jakes, they let me see if I can look that up real quick. Bear with me. Bear with me. I know that was during, that had to be Ezra. It's either Ezra or Nehemiah. Bear with me. Which, I mean, nevertheless, let me look this up real quick, man. Let me go through this real quick. During Ezra. So I'm going to read this in Ezra, chapter 3. Yeah, I think this is it. Ezra chapter 3, I'm going to start at verse 8. Because again, the Temple of Solomon, man, now listen, that was a sight to see. All right. It was, man. We'll go ahead and read this. In Ezra chapter 3, I'm going to start at verse 8. Now in the second year of their coming unto the house of God at Jerusalem, in the second month began Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and Jeshua, the son of Jozadak, and the remnant of their brethren, the priests and the Levites, and all they that were come out of the captivity unto Jerusalem, and appointed the Levites from 20 years old and upward to set forth the work of the house of the Lord. Because, during this time, the decree was given that the temple to be, basically, we were allowed to rebuild the temple, right? It said, then stood Jeshua with his sons and his brethren, Kadmiel and his sons, and the sons of Judah together to set forth the workmen in the house of God, the sons of Henadad, with their sons and their brethren, the Levites. And when the builders laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord, they set the priests in their apparel with trumpets, and the Levites, the sons of Asaph, with cymbals, to praise the Lord after the ordinance of King David of Israel. And they sang together by chorus in praising and giving thanks unto the Lord, because he is good, for his mercy endureth forever toward Israel. And all the people shouted with a great shout when they praised the Lord, because the foundation of the house of the Lord was laid. Verse 12, but many of the priests and Levites and chief of the fathers, who were ancient men that had seen the first house. So you had you had some of those Jakes that were around during the time when the King Solomon made the temple. And again, because I talked about King Solomon's palace, how it took him 14 years, and you imagine how decked out that was. But going back to the temple, roughly 7 years it took to make. Still, imagine how decked out that was, and again, because when it came to building the temple, everything was detailed, and like I mentioned earlier with the brothers, the elders and the brothers out there in Dallas, they touched on how, hey, there was a certain smell and scent and just the beauty, just the aurora, man, the majesty. Well, you have certain Jakes that were around during that time. All right, that's why again it said verse 12, but many of the priests and Levites and chief of the fathers, who were ancient men that had seen the first house, when the foundation of this house was laid before their eyes, wept with a loud voice. You see, they cried because it was like, man, listen, listen. Because again, the rebuilding of this temple, all right, the second temple, all right, You had these ancient men, they cried, they wept with a loud voice, right? But when you read on, it says that many shouted aloud for joy. Well, what was that? But because listen, a lot of these younger Jakes at that time, they didn't know, they didn't see, they weren't around for the glory and the beauty of the first temple, man. They weren't around, and it's like, again, the men that were around during that time, it's like, man, you know, it's just not the same. It's just not, this ain't it. Because listen, the beauty of that the temple, man, and when King Solomon during that time, man, you know, it was some. I can only, just speaking as a man, I'm sure it was something to look at, man. I'm sure it was beautiful. So when they built this second temple, right? Those men that were around during the first temple, when they seen the second temple, they wept. And a lot of these younger Jakes, even though they were you know, crying aloud for joy, but the men that were around for the first temple, man, it was like, man, this ain't it, man. This ain't nothing compared to the first temple, man. You know, just to show you the beauty and just, man, again, going back to that Matthew, hey, you know, because how much more this third temple, which is currently being built, which it starts with us, Lord willing, what that number, you know. And when the kingdom is established on earth, man, how much more if the first temple was a sight to see and just, you know, something beyond imagination, and again, this was on earth in the flesh, and you know, no spiritual bodies or nothing like that. How much more this, you know, this third temple that's coming, again, it's already being reestablished, but eventually, man, the kingdom is going to be established on earth as it is in heaven. This is going to be, man, again, going back to that Matthew, you know, listen, we're going to be blessed beyond measure. We're going to, and that's why we're going to need, and me personally, again, speaking as a man, even when we get the new bodies, I don't think that's going to be enough. Because listen, what we've got coming for us, it's going to be so far-fetched, man. Even in the new bodies, brothers are going to be so, oh my God, and you know, just, oh shit, you know, that's just how I feel. That's what I think. Even in the new bodies, brothers are going to be, oh my God, yeah, Lord, because listen, it's not going to be a dull moment in the kingdom. It's always going to get, and I say this from time to time as well, because, you know, on this side, all right, we you know, sometimes we have good days, sometimes we have bad days, better days than some, but in the kingdom, every day is going to be better than the day before. What is that like? Picture that. Every day is going to be better than yesterday. What's that like? You know, every day is going to be better than the day before. It's never going to be a dull moment. It's always going to be a better day, man. You know, it's always going to be a better day. It's never going to be a dull moment. Listen, the Lord has something in store for us, man. The Lord has things in store for us. Pleasures evermore. All right. Going back to Matthew 6:29, and yet I say unto you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. So even during the time of King Solomon, and how beautiful it was, and just, oh my God, and you know, like I just read, you know, in Ezra, man, those men that were around when they seen the second temple being built, they cried, because it was like, man, this ain't nothing compared to the, man, what? Going back to, man, again, King Solomon, that was a prelude to what we're going to have, man, to what we're going to receive. Man, it's far-fetched, you know, but nevertheless, hey, we're going to be blessed beyond measure. Listen, brothers in the kingdom are not going to have to lift a finger. Yeah, there's still things that we're going to have to do as far as, you know, establishing order and, you know, things of that nature pertaining to business. But as far as, you know, like I said, something simple as, listen, I shouldn't have to light my own incense. I should have slaves for that, man. I should have servants doing this round the clock. All right. Like I said, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. Hey, you know, you shouldn't have to be doing stuff like that. You know, we're kings, man. We come from royalty. We shouldn't have to do stuff like that. I should have a cupbearer. I'm gonna have a cupbearers, all that, man. We're gonna have all that. Cupbearers, all that. You know. But hey, man, I've talked long enough. You know, hey, Lord, this is edifying and encouraging, uplifting, to whom this may concern, giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Shalom to you. Hopefully, let the Lord willing into the next one. Shalom.